Jai Jai Sitchitanyadaya Nityānanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Sitchitanya Jaya Nityānanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityānanda Sahodito Godadaya Puspadanta Chitra Sandha Namo Tamonado. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda appeared simultaneously on the eastern horizon. The sun and the moon, both together, on the eastern horizon of Bengal. These two transcendental brothers, although not seminal brothers, but brothers on the spiritual platform, because Vrajendra-nandan-ye Sachi-sutta Holliness Balaram Haranitai. Srila Nityānanda-Thakur has identified Krishna, Brajendra-nandan, who has now appeared as Sachi-sutta, the son of Sachi. And Balaram is come as Nitai. So, in this way, Srila Vrindavan-das Thakur, who is a disciple of Lord Nityānanda, has extensively glorified Lord Nityānanda. And in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, we will read some of the verses where he is beginning to explain who is Lord Nityānanda Balaram. Istadeva Vandan Mara Nityānanda Rai Kripa Kirtish Puraya Her Kripai. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Nityānanda Rai, for he is my worshipful Lord. By his mercy, the glories of Lord Chaitanya become manifest. Sahasra Vadan Bandhan Prabhu Balaram Jahar Sahasra Mukha Krishna Yasudam. Krishna Yasudam is a very nice. Krishna Yasudam means the abode of the glorification of Krishna. Jahar Sahasra Mukha, his thousands of mouths. So the Lord in the form of Ananta Sesh is Krishna Yasudam, the abode of glorifying Krishna. Yes. So, Swayam Prakash Nityānanda Baladev, who appears in a two-armed human-like form holding a plow, increases the ecstasy of Krishna Prem by constantly engaging in the service of Sri Gaura Krishna in the mood of a devotee. Sri Ananta says the plenary portion of Lord Baladev holds all the universes on his hoots. His matchless service of always glorifying the qualities of Sri Gaura, his worshipful Lord, is being described here. Sri Anantadev constantly recites Srimad Bhagavatam to the great Brahmana sages headed by the four Kumaras. He's the Lord and Guru of the otter, who's the incarnation of Vyasadeva for describing the pastimes of Sri Gaura Krishna. This is from the Gaudiya Bhasya from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Maharatna tuhi yena mahapriyasthane jasuratta bandar Shri Anantavadan. Lord Ananta's mouth are the storehouse of the gem-like glories of Lord Krishna. 4 valuable jewels are kept in a most appropriate place. Attaiva yage balaramera shtavan karila semukashpuri chaitanya kirtan. Therefore, in the beginning, I offer my prayers to Lord Balaram so that the glories of Lord Chaitanya will manifest for my mouth. Chaitanya kirtan. By the mercy of Lord Balaram, there can be Chaitanya Kirtan. Sahasrapannadare Prabhu Balaram Yatikaraya Prabhu Shakalodam. Lord Balaram has thousands of hoods and all his activities are extraordinary. Haladar Mahaprabhu Prakanda Sarira Chaitanya Chandrira Yashomatta Mahadira. The Supreme Lord Balaram carries a plow and possesses a gigantic body. Although he's exceptionally grave, he's intoxicated by the glories of Lord Chaitanya. The intoxicating nature of the glories of Lord Chaitanya. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Kora Vichar, Vichara Karita Chitta Bhava Chamatkar. That if one is exploring the nature of the amazing qualities of Lord Chaitanya, then naturally, Chitta Bhava Chamatkar, in one's heart, feelings of amazement will arise. And these feelings of amazement are just overwhelming. And so, as Lord Nityānanda is serving Lord Chaitanya, as he is glorifying Lord Chaitanya, the nature of devotional service is susukam kartamahaviyam, is that it is joyfully performed. Therefore, the joy that Nityānanda, eternally absorbed in great happiness, Ananda. This Nityānanda is intoxicated, and it is said Nityānanda is so intoxicated he can no longer see who is qualified, who is not qualified. So he just simply gives the mercy to anyone and everyone. That is Nityānanda. So as Balaram is intoxicated with Varuni, Nityānanda is intoxicated with ecstatic devotional service. Of course, it is Balaram is also intoxicated with devotional service. Yes. Tadodika Chaitanya Priya Nayar Niravadi Saidaya Karena Vihar. There is no one more dear to Lord Chaitanya than Nityānanda. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya always enjoys pastimes with him. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we find a description how in Panihati, the Lord appears. And wherever Lord Nityānanda dances, there was the Chip Rice Festival, we remember. And Lord Nityānanda was there in Panihati, sitting on a raised platform under a huge banyan tree on the bank of the river Ganga. It is said that Raghunath, who did not live so far away from there, saw this as an opportunity to go and take darshan of Lord Nityānanda. All along, Raghunath had been held back by his father's arrangement from leaving the house, and he was always accompanied by some guards, right? Some brahmanas, some others who were guarding him. But it was allowed for him, along with some entourage, to go and take the darshan of Nityānanda. So when Raghunath Das came and he saw Lord Nityānanda, even from a distance, he saw his effulgence, he saw him seated, surrounded by his associates under that banyan tree, and immediately he fell flat like a rod on the ground. Then Nityānanda spoke with his thundering voice. Who is that? Who is that? Catch that thief! Catch that thief! So in India, when you say chor, thief, chor, immediately everyone gets very apprehensive to catch the thief. So the crowd just ran and grabbed Raghunath and brought him before Lord Nityānanda. And Lord Nityānanda chastised him. You chor, you thief, you chor. You have stolen away my opportunity to embrace you by paying obeisances at a distance. For this, I will punish you. And so Raghunath Das was punished and had to arrange a feast for all the devotees. And he made this whole chip rice dahi and chip rice condensed milk festival. And the chip rice festival is still going on in Paniyati, and many nice fruits are there, and dried fruits and other things to flavor the chip rice. It is very, very tasty. And it is said there were so many people for that chip rice festival that the banks of the Ganga just filled up. And Raghunath Das bought all the clay pots, bought all the chip rice, bought all the bananas, bought all kinds of ingredients everywhere. And the man who came to bring the ingredients, they also stayed, and they were also part of the festival. At one point, there were so many people, there was no more space. Some people had to, on the bank. Some people even sat in the Ganga. It is said that then, at one point, Lord Chaitanya manifested. Because there where Nityānanda is dancing, Lord Chaitanya will manifest. And then Lord Chaitanya was also there, but most people could not see. Some people could smell a garland, right, that he was wearing. Others, they could see. Some people saw only Lord Nityānanda walking between all the devotees who were sitting there with 2 pots of sweet rice in front, of kheer, chip rice in front of them. But some people saw Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda, and how the 2 brothers were feeding each other from these little pots. They would take one piece, and Lord Nityānanda would take a piece and put it in the mouth of Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya would take some and put it in the mouth of Lord Nityānanda. And in this way they walked past all the devotees. And so everyone was taking the Mahaprasadam of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityānanda. So yes, Lord Chaitanya always enjoys pastimes with Nityānanda. And even when Lord Chaitanya is not present, he manifests himself. Taha charitirye bhajana sunnagaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Tara Paramasaya. Shri Krishna Chaitanya is most satisfied with one who chants or hears the characteristics of Lord Nityānanda. So, Lord Nityānanda is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita as being none other than Balaram, and Balaram is Swayam Bhagavan, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. then Balaram expands himself and he becomes, in the Chaturvyuha, he becomes Sankarshan. Then Sankarshan is, from Sankarshan manifests Anantasesh. And then he also further expands himself. He expands himself as the Purusha avatars. Sankarshan expands himself into Mahavishnu. And Mahavishnu expands himself also further in Garbhodakṣaya Vishnu, Kshirodakṣaya Vishnu. And so on. In this way, he also becomes the Purusha avatars. So he's Anantasesh, who glorifies the Lord. And he personally becomes the bed, he becomes the seat, he becomes the paraphernalia, the utensils of the Lord. And finally, it is also mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat that Balaram personally becomes the holy Dham, Vrindavan Dham. So in this way, Lord Nityānanda Balaram is serving the Lord in every possible way. In every possible way, he is providing the arrangement of the spiritual world. He's providing the arrangement of the material world. He is the Lord's personal servant. He's also, yes, Anantasesh with the many hoots and mouths, who is Krishna Yasodham. Yes, he is Krishna Yasodham, the storehouse of the glorification of Krishna, the abode of the glorification of Krishna. Krishna Yasodham, Nityānanda Krishna Yasodham. Lord Shiva and Parvati also become pleased with such a person and are gentle. Yes, of course, because Lord Shiva is a further expansion of Sankarshan. Sankarshan, Mahavishnu, Sadashiva expands himself into Rudra, Dev, who is in this material world. The material world and spiritual world separated by the Viraja river or causal ocean. On the spiritual side is the Shiva Loka of Sadashiva, and where he's always meditating on Lord Sankarshan. And on the material side is the abode of Rudra Shiva, who is worshipped, who lives on Mount Kailash, worshipped by Kuvera. So Lord Shiva is also pleased, and he is Asutosh. He's very quickly bestowing so many benefits. And Saraswati is also pleased. And Saraswati manifests on his tongue. Parvati pravrittinar Buddha narilaya Shankarsan Puja Shiva Upakshahaya. Along with Parvati, innumerable maidservants, Lord Shiva engages in the worship of Sankarshan. Panchaskandri Bhagavat Kata Sarva Vaishnavira Vanya Balaram Gata. The topic in the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam concerning Lord Balaram, the original Sankarshan, are glorified by all Vaishnavas. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 5:17, 1624 in this regard. So, let's have a look at that. In the Ilavrita Varsa, Lord Shiva is always encircled by 10 billion maidservants of Goddess Durga who minister to him. The quadruple expansion of the Supreme Lord is composed of Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshan. Sankarshan, the 4th expansion, is certainly transcendental, but because of his activities of destruction in the material world are in the mode of ignorance, he is known as Tamasi. the Lord's form and the mode of ignorance. Lord Shiva knows that Sankarshan is the original cause of his own existence, and thus he always meditates upon him in trance by chanting the following mantra. The most powerful Lord Shiva says, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you in your expansion as Lord Sankarshan. You're the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. Although you're unlimited, you remain unmanifest to the devotees. O my Lord, you are the only worshipable person, for you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all opulences. Your secure lotus feet are the only source of protection for all your devotees, whom you satisfy by manifesting yourself in various forms. O my Lord, you deliver your devotees from the clutches of material existence. Non-devotees, however, remain entangled in material existence by your will. Kindly accept me as your servant. So, in Vrindavan Das, Thakur just continues to glorify Balaram, and in this first chapter, and in that glorification, he's establishing the tattva of Balaram, and that is of course very, very nice. Quickly, 1 second. So, yes, Hare Krishna. So we're appreciating how Lord Nityānanda is the embodiment of devotional service, and as a result is the embodiment of ecstatic happiness, and is therefore intoxicated and extremely merciful. We know that Lord Nityānanda delivered Jagai and Madai. These two brothers were most degraded. These brothers, they had robbed, they had murdered, they had raped, and they had set fire to people's homes. I mean, they were always drunk, they were swearing, they were fighting, they were intense. So these brothers, yes, they were most degraded, and they were brahmanas by their background, but yet they had become so fallen, so extremely fallen, that no one wanted to, everyone would run away from wherever they were in fear. But one day, Lord Chaitanya, Vali Navadvip, he created the first Sankirtan party. And that party was a party made up of Lord Nityānanda and Haridas Thakur. And so one day, they were chanting. They were going around and chanting the holy name. So then they just bumped into these brothers, Jagai and Madai. And Jagai and Madai, they were from Brahmin descent, Jagadananda and Madhavananda Bandhu Pujai. And Jagai and Madai, they just totally lost it when they saw Nityānanda and Haridas chanting, and they immediately ran after them to attack them. But Nityānanda and Haridas ran, as fast as they could, and because the brothers were drunk, the Lord and Haridas managed to escape. Then Haridas was complaining and he said, this Nityānanda, who is this Nityānanda? It is too much, this Nityānanda. We come in some village. And he just gets into the mood of a coward boy and he just starts drinking the milk straight from the cows. Then the local villagers come with sticks, right? Or he takes off all his clothes in public. So it's like, Nityānanda, it's like, I'm not going out with Nityānanda anymore. He's getting me in trouble. This is just too much. Today we just got away, by the skin of our teeth. We just barely survived this attack from this Jagai and Madai. But that evening, they reported to Lord Chaitanya their Sankirtan activities, and the Lord is ecstatic. Yes, very soon, these brothers will be delivered. And then what transpired the next day, they went to these brothers again, and that's when Madai hit Lord Nityānanda with his clay pot, and which cut the forehead of Lord Nityānanda, and blood gushed from a wound on his head. At that time, Lord Chaitanya appeared with a raised Sudarshan chakra, and he was ready to kill these brothers. Then Nityānanda said, no, my Lord, in this incarnation, you have not come to kill the demons. You have come to deliver the most fallen. No. So, because Nityānanda stopped him, then Lord Chaitanya and then Nityānanda said, Lord Chaitanya was held back a little, but still very, very angry and ready to strike. Then Nityānanda said, but Jagai actually mentioned to his brother that the kirtan sounded very nicely. Lord Chaitanya immediately appreciated that Jagai had actually expressed some liking for the kirtan. Jagai's devotional service had begun, and Lord Chaitanya embraced him. And as Lord Chaitanya embraced him, his golden body became blackish, and for a moment he looked like Krishna, absorbing all the sins of Jagai. And so Jagai became delivered. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is extensively described how Jagai and Madai committed so many sins, so many unlimited sins. And it is said that Yamaraj, he has Chitragupta, who is his scribe. And Chitragupta is keeping the records of all these sinful activities of all the living beings. So Chitragupta was keeping these records, and he had many messengers. It is said the messengers were falling by the wayside. It is just, they were reporting one sinful activity after another. They couldn't keep up with it, practically speaking, and Chitragupta didn't know where to keep all the records. I mean, it's just so many records, it just took too much space. And they said, what to do? These brothers are really inconceivably sinful. So in this way, all this was going on. But now Lord Chaitanya just delivered Jagai, and all these sinful reactions now were just no longer valid. You'd just be discarded. You'd just be discarded. And then, of course, Lord, Jagai, he became transformed. And Jagai just became so ecstatic, so overwhelmed and so ecstatic that everyone was just looking as like, this is amazing. And Madai said, but what about me? What about me? I mean, he's getting this, and what about me? We did everything together. And Lord Chaitanya said, you have offended Lord Nityānanda. You will suffer for many millions of births. No, but we did everything together. There must be a way. Then Lord Chaitanya said, the only way for you is to fall at the feet of Lord Nityānanda. And if he forgives you, then you can be delivered. And then Madai fell at the feet of Lord Nityānanda. And Lord Nityānanda picked him up. And then Lord Nityānanda embraced Madai. And then Madai also became ecstatic with love of God. And of course, we hear that they were told to sin no more. And in order to overcome the result of all their unknown Vaishnava aparad, because they were so intoxicated, they had committed so many offenses to so many people, they just didn't know who they offended. And then they were instructed to make a bathing ghat and wash the feet of all the pilgrims that would come. And that would purify them from all the offenses to the devotees they had unknowingly committed. And so it happened. But Madai was still not feeling good. So one day he came before Lord Nityānanda, and Madai was still being consumed by guilt. Then Lord Nityānanda said, my dear Madai, don't worry. He said, from my perspective, you're just like a child. And when a child hits his father, the father doesn't take it so serious. Madai, it's all right. And then Prabhupada speaks, and it says at that time, 500 years ago, there was one Madai and one Jagai. He said, but now the entire population has become Jagai and Madai. So Prabhupada says, so Lord Nityānanda is more merciful than Lord Chaitanya. It said, and the spiritual master who delivers all the Jagais and Madais is more merciful than Nityānanda. And we're talking about Prabhupada in particular, but any spiritual master. But with Prabhupada we see it so clearly. And we see how Prabhupada is the embodiment of Lord Nityānanda, the extension. It is Nityānanda extended the mercy of Lord Chaitanya to reach those who had absolutely no qualification. But the mercy reached. And Prabhupada took the mercy of Lord Nityānanda and extended it to all the Jagais and Madais. And so we are here. We are here. There is no question. There is no question that the only reason why we have taken up devotional service is because of mercy. It is said that due to previous association with devotional service, bhakti unmukhi sukriti, due to previous benefits that a person may have from previous devotional service, again, in this lifetime, we take up devotional service. But that's nectar devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami. But when we have no pious credits, then what to do? Of course, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati in his Chaitanya Chandramrita says that even those who have no pious credits at all, who never served any brahmanas, who never heard any scriptures, who never gave in charity, who never worshipped the Lord, even they will now dance in ecstasy. That's us. That is us. And yes, and why is it so? We didn't have those pious credits from previous life, but Prabhupada said, I have created your pious credits. And so it is Prabhupada who brought us the mercy of Lord Nityānanda, and who connected us, and who makes it possible for us to be here. Now, when you speak about mercy, it should be understood that that mercy from Lord Nityānanda, which we got from Nityānanda, is not a one-time thing, that we got the mercy of Nityānanda. We got the mercy of Nityānanda. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, I am lower than a worm in stool. Anyone who gets my association loses all his pious credits. But how amazing is it that one like me has attained the mercy of Lord Nityānanda? Yes. So we are also here because of the mercy of Lord Nityānanda. But we also on an ongoing basis need the mercy of Lord Nityānanda. We need it now. We need it. The mercy of Lord Nityānanda brought us here at the lotus feet of Krishna, brought us here in the association of the devotees. The mercy of Lord Nityānanda brought us here that now we are actually relishing Krishna Katha. The mercy of Lord Nityānanda brought us prasadam, brought us the holy name, brought us Chaitanya Kirtan, brought us Sri Krishna Kirtan. The mercy of Lord Chaitanya is just the only reason why we're here. And we need the mercy of Lord Chaitanya to stay. Because, yes, the Chaito Darpana Marjanam, the consciousness needs to be purified, and from the dust accumulated from so many materialistic activities. And so our consciousness is still contaminated. And so we need the protection. We need the protection of the Lord from ourselves to begin with. From ourselves. And we need protection from Maya. So Maya is without and Maya is within. So here we are. This is the situation. And we need protection from this, from our own weakness. Hridaya durbalyam. The weakness of heart is very strong. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that this Hridaya durbalyam, yes, kutinati, a business mentality, always looking for our advantage in every situation, trying to exploit the situation. Therefore, we are pretending, kutinati, we are pretending to look better so that we can get a better reward for our activities. This fruitive mentality, we've brought it into spiritual life. Oh, kutinati is a weakness of the heart. Yes. Puja, yes. I want to be worshipped. Yes, yes, yes. I want that recognition. Pratishta, yes. I want to be adored. But one who's trying to enjoy his own glories cannot enter into the glories of the heart. Into the glories of the Lord. There's when one's heart is filled with one's own glories, then there's not enough space to fill the heart with the glories of the Lord. But this is our business. Say pancha tattvamili prithiviyasi apurva prema bandrera udrugadiya panchamili lutta prem. We have to plunder the storehouse of love of God. We have to plunder the storehouse of Krishna Kirtan, of Chaitanya Kirtan, of glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is our business. Lord Nityānanda appeared in the district somewhat to the northwest from Navadvip, in the district of Birbhum, and he appeared in the village of Ekachakra as the son of Harai Oja. Harai Oja, oh, what great fortune, to have a son like Nityānanda. Harai Oja was over the moon. Harai Oja was just totally absorbed in great love for his son. And Nityānanda was just an amazing son because he was acting out all the pastimes of the Lord with his friends. That was his child's play. His child play was just to act out pastimes of the Lord. And he did all the incarnations. And at one point, he just started the entire Ramayana also. And people said, but Nitai, how do you know all these things? And it's just like, and Nitai just knew. He just knew all the pastimes of the Lord. And he was so expertly performing these transcendental pastimes, and along with his friends. And of course, we remember how Nitai told one, as they were in Ram Lila, the point came where Nitai was playing the role of Lakshman. And that Lakshman was shot by Indrajit and just lying there. And Nitai said that when he would faint, right, like in that way in the game, that one of the boys should go and bring that Mrityu Sanjivani, that herb that can revive one from death. Yes, and but when Nitai fell on the ground unconscious, all the boys were so shocked they forgot to play, and Nitai was lying there, and the elders came, this, that. But finally, then one boy remembered, no, we have to get the healing herb. Then the boy that was Hanuman, he went and he brought that herb. And then Nityānanda returned to his senses. One day a sannyasi came to the door of Harai Oja's house, and Harai Oja was so pleased to welcome a great sadhu. Then the sadhu asked for charity. And Harai said, yes, whatever you desire. Then the sadhu said, I want your son. And it flashed through the head of Harai Oja, no, I will not give my son, no way. But how can I not give my son? Because when I don't give my son, then I am not acting properly like a father. Then I'm not teaching him. That whatever a sannyasi desires, that must be given. oh. And he said, yes, yes, yes. No, he thought. No, he felt. No, no. Inside him, his voice screamed no, but he heard himself say yes, yes, yes. And so the sannyasi was very quick and left with Nityānanda. Some say that sannyasi was Madhavinda Puri. Others say that this sannyasi was Vishwarup, the elder brother of Lord Chaitanya, who had the sannyas named Sankararanya, and that he took Lord Nityānanda. And after all, Sankararanya was also considered an expansion of Lord Nityānanda. But there is no authorized support for these things. So all that we know is an unknown sannyasi took Nityānanda, and they went around many, many pilgrim places. Meanwhile, Harayoja was still caught in this inner conflict. Oh, how could I let him go? No, how can I live without? I let him go, yes, I let him go, but now, how can I live? No, Nitai, how can I live without Nitai? People say this, Oja Pagal, Oja the Pagal. This Oja in Chaitanya Bhagavat, it says like this, the people said, he's gone Pagal, he's gone mad. And Harayoja was just walking around like a madman in separation from Nitai and gave up his body. Oh Nityānanda Ram, oh Nityānanda Balaram, oh Nityānanda Ram. So Lord Nityānanda came to many pilgrimage places. Then when Lord Nityānanda came, he saw all the temples in Vrindavan, right? But he saw that Krishna wasn't there. He looked at all the deities, but Krishna wasn't there. Then he heard that Krishna was in Navadvip. So he decided to go to Navadvip. And in Navadvip, meet Lord Chaitanya. So it is stated that Nitai was thinking that, all right, I will just hide in somewhere and let Krishna find me. So he wanted to see something superhuman, something to indicate that Lord Chaitanya, to confirm that Lord Chaitanya was Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya said, oh, to all the devotees, said, oh, a great personality has come. Oh, let us look for him. And he sent all the devotees everywhere, but nobody found any trace of any great personality. The devotees said, we couldn't find anybody. We just looked everywhere. Then Lord Chaitanya personally took them directly to the house of Nandanacharya. And there Lord Nityānanda was residing. And there the two transcendental brothers met.